Hi, welcome to How to Repair. Today we've got a Beko Condenser Tumble Dryer that's been thrown out and it's less than 2 years old. And it's such a simple fix. This tumble dryer is exceptionally noisy. It's all working, it's heating, but the problem being is there has been a real lack of maintenance on the machine. I can tell from the filter system and looking down the gap here, I can tell how much fluff has built up over a period of time because people have not maintained their machine. Basically, when you turn the machine on, the fan system on this machine is exceptionally noisy. This noise can also be coming from the belt system as well, and I'll show you what to inspect in this video. But you could hear the actual fan then slipping and causing the problem. So let's take the machine apart and have a look at it. To take the machine apart, there's 2 screws on the lid, a selection of screws down the side, and 1 screw underneath the machine. Okay, this now exposes the front fan blade and the back fan blade lives behind here. These are the 2 belts. This is the primary belt and this belt is a 7pH 1956. First thing to do is rotate the drum and we can hear the noise and it sounds like it's coming back from the back fan blade, but you want to inspect the belt for any burrs or damage to the belt. Also, just have a look at the secondary belt, which is the drive to the pulley wheel that then drives the actual main belt. Underneath here is the forward fan blade. Lifting the catch up, you're able to inspect it. You can see that there's a large amount of fluff that needs to be cleaned up on this blade. And this will cause imbalance and it will also restrict the flow of air going through the machine. I will do another video on how to maintain your Beko Condenser Tumble Dryer and showing you all the things that you need to clean and maintain on a regular basis. And I'll also include extracts from the service manual showing you what to test and what to make sure is working correctly. So this all needs cleaning up, but this fan blade is in good condition. When putting these back together, make sure you get this lip underneath at the back. It's very important that this sits correctly as it will restrict the flow of air if there's any gaps. Remove all the screws from the heating panel at the back. Make sure you keep them separate as some are different threads going into the steel and into the plastic. Undoing the last screw while holding the panel, then the panel will come away. You will notice all the build-up of fluff and muck around this area. This all needs thoroughly cleaning. And here's our problem. The fan blade has completely detached from the actual shaft. And let me explain what has taken place and why this has gone wrong. The lack of maintenance on this machine has caused the airflow to be excessively hot. The air basically goes up here, is pulled into the machine to dry the clothes and then is recirculated because it's a condenser tumble dryer. And this area has got excessively hot and the plastic has warped and therefore detached the actual fan blade from the actual shaft. Now the new part is 29629300200 on this model of machine. I'll put a link in the description below to all the fan blades for the front and the back for Beko tumble dryers and condenser tumble dryers. This fan blade has got a D shape as you see, so it sits on the shaft and then the the nut actually pulls it into place and holds it in there. If this gets excessively hot, then of course this will cause this type of problem. So all we have to do to replace it is undo the nut and then clean the shaft up and fit the new fan blade. But do not just fit the new fan blade. Do watch the maintenance video to show you how to relieve the heat problem that we have on this machine where it's getting excessively hot and therefore this will not happen again. So what we're going to do is take this back fan blade off and holding the belt I'm able to actually hold the shaft on the motor. Then just take the nut off and the fan blade, ooh, it's quite jammy. It will come away. There is a washer in here that you will have to prise out to put onto the new fan blade. Now you can see inside here in the ducting unit, all this needs cleaning up as well. This is where the air is pulled in through onto the fan blade to go up to the heater. But what we're quickly going to do, as the front fan blade also needs cleaning, is I'm going to release the motor and clean the front fan blade before we put it together. To do this, we're going to drop the belt off, just rotating it and pulling it off the actual motor. The spring, as you could hear then, was quite hefty, and I'm just going to take the spring off the motor and rest that there. Then we have to undo the cover again, taking that off. Then we need to undo 2 screws that hold the actual motor in place. Take the actual covers off. You'll notice there's a hook that locks into the plastic on each side. We can then lift up the motor, disconnecting the electrics, and now we can undo this nut to take the fan blade off to actually clean it all up. Okay, just noticing here now, we've caught this at the perfect time. This fan blade has got a little bit of movement. As if you were checking a wheel bearing on the car, you can see that there's just about a millimetre of movement on the tip here. So we would be able to do this nut up to actually pull it down on the shaft correctly. But the first thing we want to do whenever doing maintenance is take the fan blade off, and we're going to put this in some hot soapy water to clean it all up. I'm just going to bring this up to the camera. You can actually see all the dirt that is built up on each individual blade, and this does cause a restriction in the airflow going through the machine. There's a little bit of corrosion on the actual motor shaft, so I'm just quickly going to clean it up. And that's clean enough. Now, as you can see, the fan blade has been completely cleaned up, and that will work much more efficiently. So I'm just quickly going to slide that onto the motor. And I'm also going to put a touch of Loctite on the threads. Although this is a nylon lock, because of the heat, I'm just putting a bit of Loctite on there just to make sure it never slips in the future. Now, if you need to replace the secondary belt, the part number is written on there, and this is a 491500-303, and this belt is a 4PH285, meaning it's 285 millimeters long, and this is straightforward. I'm going to quickly just take that off to show you, and also I'm able to give the pulley bearing a spin, and that sounds in perfect condition, so that can all be reassembled. So just putting it onto the shaft, then rotating it, and then making sure you get the belt lining up in the middle of the shaft, like that. Now, as you can see, we're ready to reassemble, and I've fully cleaned the whole of the inside of the machine, which you can see on the maintenance video. I've also cleaned inside the motor as well, which you'll see on that video, because the motors can overheat if clogged up with fluff. They do need good airflow going through them. We've already checked the bearing on the secondary pulley, and the belt is in perfect condition. So this is all ready to reassemble. So we're just going to connect the wiring up. The plug can only go in one way because it has grooves on it. The earth wire needs to be attached again. Now we can slot this in, making sure not to put it through the belt, as I've done on many occasions before. Taking that down, making sure that the motor holders are lined up perfectly. Dropping that down, just giving it a check. Then make sure if you've taken the spring off completely, make sure it goes on correctly. The longer part of the arm is going to the pulley. Then we can put our cups in, make sure they clip under the plastic at the back. Now, to put the belt on, I actually use a hook screwdriver. You may need to put something here to support it or rest something on here because you don't want to damage the plastic. So I put that onto the metal screw. I'm able to lift it up then and then put the belt on. Oops. And just do a couple of rotations to make sure the belt is lining up correctly on the old mark, and then take the tension off, and then I can give it a couple of rotations. But first we'll just put the cover on. Again, I've cleaned up every component. It's really important to make sure that everything is absolutely immaculate. That's all clipped on, and making sure that you put the edge underneath at the back. Just quickly putting a little Loctite onto the actual threads so the nut never becomes loose again. Lining up the D side of the shaft with the spline. Making sure that you take the washer off the old blade. This time, because the shaft is good, I will be able to hold the blade while doing it up. And I'm taking it tight and a little over 1/4 of a turn. Now at this point, if you wanted to, you could test the machine to make sure that everything's running smoothly and quietly, which we'll do now. Now I've plugged the machine back in, so be very careful here. I've also only turned the machine to a cool cycle so the heater doesn't get energized, but at least we can inspect if everything is running correctly. You can see that the belts are lined up correctly and running efficiently, and we've got rid of all the fan noise now that was there before. And this machine now is ready to reassemble, and it's absolutely running perfectly. And there we go. For the sake of a £15 to £20 part, this machine will go on for many more years, as long as the maintenance is done on the machine. Not only will it dry the clothes in a quicker time, make the machine last longer, but it will save you money on electricity as well. There's a link in the description below to any Beko Condenser Tumble Dryer parts that you need, and we've also got a full playlist on these Beko Condenser Tumble Dryers with regards to replacing the belt, replacing the heating system, or diagnosing problems with the heating system and related thermostats and relays on the circuit board. There is also a video on the pump system as well, and of course the video I suggest you watch next is how to maintain the machine and do a service on the machine. There's a link in the description below for any Beko Condenser Tumble Dryer parts that you need. Thanks very much indeed for watching, and remember to give the video a thumbs up. And if we really helped you, you can always click on the Bipolar Beer page to donate to the website. Thanks again for watching.